Understanding Australia and Oceania through a regional map. The map that you're seeing immediately feels different from most continental maps. There is no single dominant landmass filling the frame. Instead, there is space, vast, uninterrupted space. This is a map where water is the majority and land appears as fragments scattered across it. And that alone tells us something fundamental about the region we're looking at. This is Oceania, and mapping it is one of the hardest cartographic challenges in the world. And I think it's pretty obvious why that is. First impressions: an ocean with land attached. Unlike Africa, Europe, or Asia, this map does not read as land surrounded by water. It reads as an ocean punctuated by land. The Pacific dominates the composition. Islands appear as dots, chains, and small silhouettes, often separated by hundreds of thousands of kilometers. The map forces the viewer to confront scale, not land scale, but ocean scale. This is the defining geographic truth of Oceania, and the map makes no attempt to soften it. Australia as the anchor. At the center left of the map sits Australia. Australia is visually dominant not just because of its size, but because it provides stability. It anchors the viewer's eye and gives orientation to a region that might otherwise feel disorienting. Cartographically, Australia functions as a continental reference point, a scale comparator, a visual counterweight to the scattered islands to the east and north. Without Australia, this map would feel abstract. With it, the rest of Oceania becomes legible. Southeast Asia as the transition zone. To the northwest, we see Indonesia, Philippines, and Brunei. These countries form a transition zone between Asia and Oceania. The map subtly communicates this by clustering these landmasses more tightly, showing clearer coastlines and larger islands, reducing the sense of isolation compared to the Pacific Islands. This region is where continental geography begins to fragment into archipelagic geography. Papua New Guinea, the pivot point. Sitting between Australia and the Pacific Islands chains is Papua New Guinea. This is a crucial cartographic pivot. Papua New Guinea bridges continental landmass, volcanic island arcs, and cultural ecological zones. On the map, it visually connects Australia to Melanesia, making it one of the most structurally important features despite not being the largest. This is a reminder that importance on a map is not always about size, it's about position. Island nations and the problem of scale. Now shift your attention eastward. Here the map begins to rely heavily on insets, bounding boxes, dashed outlines, labels floating far from actual land. Countries like Micronesia, Kiribati, Tuvalu, Nauru are nearly invisible at this scale if mapped strictly to size. So the cartographer makes a choice: visibility over physical accuracy. The cartographer being Maps and Locations. Boxes, outlines, and callouts exaggerate presence so these nations can be seen, named, and acknowledged. This is ethical cartography, ensuring small places are not erased by scale. Melanesia, Polynesia, and Micronesia, cultural geography. Although not always labeled explicitly, the map visually separates the three major Pacific cultural regions: Melanesia, Papua New Guinea, Solomon Islands, Vanuatu of Fiji; Micronesia, Nauru, Marshall Islands, Palau, Federated States of Micronesia; Polynesia, Samoa, Tonga, Tuvalu, Cook Islands, French Polynesia. These regions are not political inventions, they are anthropological and historical realities. The map allows these identities to emerge naturally through clustering and spacing. This is an example of a map communicating culture through geography, without explanatory text. New Zealand, distant but distinct. At the bottom right, separated by open ocean, sits New Zealand. Its placement reinforces isolation. New Zealand is clearly part of Oceania, but not part of the Pacific island chain. Its separation is geographic, cultural, and tectonic, and the map respects that distinction by leaving space around it. Negative space here is doing narrative work. The international date line as a conceptual line. Notice the dashed vertical line labeled the international date line. This is not a physical feature. It has no mountains, no water, no land. Yet on this map, it becomes one of the most important lines present. It reminds us that Oceania spans both sides of the calendar. Time itself bends across this region, and geography affects how humans organize reality. Few maps make time visible. This one does. Color logic and political clarity. Countries are colored distinctly but gently. The palette avoids aggression, pastels rather than bold primaries. This is important in a region with many small neighbors. Harsh colors would otherwise overwhelm the viewer and exaggerate divisions. The goal here is clarity without conflict. Borders are present but not dominant. The ocean remains the visual priority. What this map leaves out. There are no trade routes, shipping lanes, tectonic plates, climate zones, and population indicators. Those layers would overwhelm the core message. This map answers one question only: how is Oceania organized politically across vast space? Everything else is deliberately suppressed. How a map like this is made. This map likely combines global boundary datasets, custom coastline generalization, manual scaling decisions for islands, label callouts and bounding boxes, editorial layout balancing land and ocean. The hardest challenge is not accuracy, it's fair representation. How do you show countries that are so tiny and scattered and far apart without making them seem insignificant? This map solves that by bending strict scale in favor of legibility. What this map is really teaching us. Beyond geography, this map teaches us perspective. It shows us that the world is not land centric everywhere. Oceans can be central, not peripheral. Political presence does not depend on size, and space itself can be the defining feature of a region. Closing thought. Maps shrink oceans to focus on land. This one does the opposite. It allows water to dominate, distance to matter, and isolation to be visible. This is not a map of borders alone, it is a map of space, separation, and connection across an ocean. And that is what makes mapping Oceania uniquely powerful. Thank you for watching this video. If you are interested in having a custom map developed for your business or personal needs, reach out to maps&locations.com. Thank you.